So I guess we could start. So I was thinking I should tell a joke. And then I thought of the only thing I think of stuck. I tell the same joke every time. Does that count? Does it count if you tell the same joke? Like what did Rabbi Nachman say to the Baal Shem Tov? Zaydi, you're the best. That's it. See, it's a short joke. I don't know why I think it's so funny, but all right. So for those who have the book, we're on page 21. We'll just review the last paragraph we did together last week and go forward. In this wonderful book, we're all learning together, Rav Yitzchak's book on Jewish meditation called Living in Divine Space. And of course, the prerequisite for this course is to be able to visualize a cube. You have to visualize that a cube has a top and a bottom and 4 sides. If you've done that, you're in. You're in the in crowd for our share. You can visualize a cube. We set very strict standards. Triangle people, forget it. You have to visualize a cube to join this group. Okay, so page 21. We'll just review the last paragraph we did together. In the quintessential statement of Yiddishkeit, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, the sages perceive the Hebrew word for one, Echad, as alluding to the 6 directions of space. Okay, now I learned something very interesting about Shema in a class in Torah's HaNefesh. But okay, I'll finish this paragraph and then I will share it with you. So Echad is spelled Aleph Ches Daled. We all know that. The numerical values of these letters are 1, 8, and 4. And these, so 1 alludes to Hashem being one. 8 alludes to Hashem being in all the 7 heavens and the earth. That's 7 plus 1 equals 8. And 4 is the 4, Daled is the 4 directions. Okay, so Hashem is everywhere, up, down, and all around. In our spiritual sanctuary, above corresponds to the 7 heavens, below to the earth. That's pretty simple. And the 4 lateral directions, east, west, south, and north, to front, back, right, and left, respectively. The Torah's directional orientation faces east, sunrise. The south is to the right, north to the left, and west, sunset behind. Let me just go over that quickly, and then I'm going to share with you what I learned about Shema Yisrael. So when we're holding, I think we spoke about this last week, when we're benching with the lulav, no matter where we are, we face east. Like in Bad Ayin, when we daven, we face north towards Yerushalayim. But when we're doing the lulav, we face east, because the Torah's direction is facing east, okay? So if we're facing east, south is to our right, north is to our left, and west is behind us. Now there's a fun activity for those geometrically inclined. Okay, so that's the review, and we're going to start new material, but I'm going to share with you what I learned this week. So Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad is broken up. It's 6 words, and it's broken up by the sages into 3 2-word expressions. Okay, so the first Shema Yisrael represents Kabbalah's Ol, taking on the yoke of heaven, because we're listening. Listen, Yisrael. So that's Kabbalah's Ol. Hashem Elokeinu is emunah in Hashem. Hashem is our God. We have emunah in Hashem, and Hashem Echad is the mitzvah of the unity, uniting Hashem, the unity of Hashem. So the Alter Rebbe says that it's known that we have Mesiras Nefesh for Hashem's unity, and we have Mesiras Nefesh for our emunah in Hashem. But the Alter Rebbe adds that we need to have Mesiras Nefesh for Kabbalah's Ol, and this Kabbalah's Ol is a tremendous simcha. And that was a chiddush for me, because I always thought of Kabbalah's Ol as kind of this, this yoke, and I thought I'd do better without it. No, you can't really say that. But the Yetzer Hara certainly feels it'll do better without a yoke. But the idea of Kabbalah's Ol, bringing this great simcha of connecting to Hashem's will. I'm doing Hashem's will, and my relationship with Hashem is important to me. Okay, so this leads in to the second thing I learned in this class, which I thought was let's see, yes, about the Beinoni. So So this is a class given, by the way, by Rabbi Effie Ehrenberg. He asks, why does the Alter Rebbe not speak about the possibility of partial Beinani? Like when it comes to Shabbos, I'm a Beinani. But then when it comes to blah, 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 I'm not a Beinani. The Alter Rebbe doesn't mention that kind of category of being a Beinani sometimes, because it's not about mitzvahs. It's about our relationship with Hashem. And that was a chiddush for me. And it's really helped me. That's why I'm sharing it with my faithful friends here. That being a Beinani is about our relationship with Hashem. That's what it's about. Isn't that cool? So it did inspire me to kind of improve my relationship with Hashem. It's good to know where we're holding. Okay. Now back to our book after that little commercial. So page 21, the bottom paragraph, new material. Okay, now the rest of this chapter is just kind of a collection of charts showing how 6 fits into many different categories. The next chapter, chapter 3, begins the exciting journey we're going to take into the 6 constant mitzvahs. It starts with emunah, but this is a bit more laborious. I'm just warning everybody so no one will be too surprised, but it's important to go through it because we can always come back to it, and it's an excellent reference because everything is containerized, like because it's all put into charts. Containerizing was very popular. There was something called migorot, drawers, that was very popular about 15, 20 years ago in Israel, where one of the ideas is organizing your drawers is putting things in containers. Do people remember? And it does help. It does help putting. So this is putting things like intellectually in containers, what this next piece is going to do. So, okay, that's my introduction. So in Hasidus, we are taught that human consciousness develops from first recognizing the vertical space coordinates of above, below, and only thereafter incorporating into our spatial consciousness the horizontal and lateral coordinates of front, back, right, left. Okay, what is this saying? It's saying that a child, a baby, its first sense of space, how does a sense of space develop? The first thing is up and down. Up and down comes first, okay? Then front and back, then right and left. This is the order of the letters of Echad, as well as the order of the meditation on the 6 constant mitzvahs of the Torah, as will be explained. Okay, because we have up, down, up, right? That's the 7 heavens. We do the 7 heavens and the earth, the up, down, before we do the 4 directions. Okay, turn that page. Now here it is in a chart. Now it's all in its little compartments. Okay, so this we will be memorizing it's so funny, for years I wanted to memorize this and I never quite did it, and now Baruch Hashem, thanks to all of us learning this together, I finally have it memorized. It's not so hard to memorize, okay, because it's logical. Let's look at it. Above is belief in the existence of God. Emunah. Emunah is one of the 6 constant mitzvahs. It's in the cube above us. Below us, so that's Anochi. When Hashem says Anochi in Har Sinai, that's the mitzvah of Emunah. Below is do not believe in any other gods. Let's stamp on those other gods to remember lo Yelecha. Stamp, stamp, stamp on all that avodah zorah. So that's below us. So we already got 2. We got the up and the down, the first part of spatial consciousness, okay? Okay, now in front is belief that Hashem is one. Right, so right is loving God. That's pretty simple because we know Chesed is on the right side. Left is fearing God. That's pretty simple because we know Gevurah is on the left side. And behind us is shielding the mind from negative thoughts, otherwise known as lo sasaru. Don't follow after. We shouldn't prostitute ourselves after our thoughts. So it's very interesting because we've been speaking about this the whole time we were learning transforming darkness into light, when we kept on coming back to thought management. And it's like it's one of the 6 constant mitzvahs. It's so important for this to be incorporated like in 1st grade. I mean, to know that there's a concept, to know we're responsible, to know that it's a possibility, thought management. Start young. Yes, okay. So emotions, we're on page 22 now, emotions of the heart. In Kabbalah, the 6 sides of the cube correspond to the 6 emotions of the heart that originate in the supernal spheros, the channels of divine light and energy with which Hashem creates the world. So this is just saying the idea there's the supernal spheros, and they're reflected in the middos that make up our personality. In particular, the 6 spheros that correspond to the 6 emotions of the heart correspond as well to the 6 days of creation. Each of these channels, emotions of the heart, also possesses an inner light or soul experience as follows. Okay, so now when we're listing these 6 middos, we're getting, and then we'll do Malchus, we're getting the Pneumius listed right here. If you remember in other classes we've done together, we wrote in the Pneumius for those writing in charts. Now they're all listed. This is a very useful table here. So it says, the sphere of Chesed, so the inner light is Ahava, love. And on the first day of creation, Hashem created light with love. Okay, that's very nice. The sphere of Gvura, might, possesses the inner light of Yira, fear. And this is these two I think are very familiar to us. On the second day of creation, Hashem separated the higher waters from the lower waters by creating the firmament. And this is with fear. The waters trembled, they separated. The lower waters were very freaked out. Separation caused this Yira, this trembling. What are we doing down here? We want to be with the upper waters. And Hashem had to comfort them that the salt from the lower waters was going to be on every sacrifice on the Mizbeach, and that they were going to be poured on the altar during Sukkot with great joy. They had, so separation, that's Gevurah. Okay, so then the inner part of Gevurah is fear. The sphere of Tiferes, beauty, possesses the inner light of Rachamim, mercy. And this we've spoken about before. I don't think this shouldn't be new material for everybody. On the third day, Hashem created life on earth, including vegetation and beautiful fruit-bearing trees with mercy. So this the beauty of the fruit-bearing trees, beauty and Rachamim. He created the trees with Rachamim. Isn't that beautiful? We have to hug a tree. The sphere of Netzach, victory and eternity, possesses the inner light of B'tachon, trust. So this is like one of the big things in Torah Sanefesh also, that B'tachon, so it's trust, it's confidence in Hashem, confidence that Hashem is watching my back. Hashem wants me to succeed. Hashem is behind me. Me and Hashem, I have confidence in Hashem. Hashem is going to help me, wants me to succeed. He's walking with me, wants me to lead the way. So that leads to victory. So the inner part of Netzach is B'tachon, and it makes sense. On the fourth day, Hashem created the sun and the moon, the 2 great luminaries, which symbolize the transcendent light and the immanent light of God, which we cannot directly see, but the presence of which we sense and become inspired by when we trust in God. So it's saying that this B'tachon in Hashem, this trust in God, we become inspired from it. It leads to inspiration. B'tachon in Hashem, confidence in Hashem, we become inspired. Isn't that good? Isn't that good to know? So we work on our B'tachon. We can sense, we can't directly see Hashem, but we can sense his presence. Now that's very cool. We can sense his presence. We can't see him, but we can sense his presence and be inspired. The sphere of Hod, thanksgiving or splendor, possesses the inner light of Tamimus. The inner light, excuse me, my phones are ringing in all directions. I'm trying to quiet some of them down. Okay, sorry. The sphere of Hod, thanksgiving, possesses the inner light of Tamimus, sincerity or simplicity. On the 5th day, Hashem created the fish and the birds, the splendor of the seas and the sky, and blessed them to be fruitful and multiply, an act performed in the animal kingdom instinctively, epitomizing the attribute of simplicity. So Tamimus, we have to talk about this word Tamimus. Tamimus, okay, is the inner part of Hod. Hod is thanking. Thanking should be sincere. So sincerity is the panemius. It really makes sense. It's so when we all know the difference of, kind of a careless thank you and a thank you that has tamimus, that has sincerity in it. And when the Rebbe Maharaj, the fifth Lubavitch Rebbe, was starting his yeshiva where they would be learning Hasidus as part of every subject, he called it Tamche Tamimim. This idea of Tamim is very, very deep. To be sincere, to be a sincere person. Isn't that a great thing? That's such a simplicity and sincerity. These are really the qualities that the Baal Shem Tov really brought into Hasidus, that the Hashem really cherishes sincerity and simplicity, that the simple Jew is so beloved by Hashem. Okay, the sphere of Yesod, foundation, possesses the inner light of emes. So there's one that we might not know by heart. Emes, so truth. Yesod validates all of the previous emotions by bringing them to consummation or fulfillment in reality, because Yesod funnels everything into Malchus, takes everything that's above it and funnels it into Malchus. On the sixth day, God created the first human being who symbolizes Hashem's seal of truth. I read that, I sort of, to represent Hashem's, to symbolize Hashem's seal of truth made me want to one-up my commitment to the truth. So truth is the inner part of Yesod. The arrangement of the six emotions of the heart and their inner lights along the sides of the cube is as follows. Okay, here we go again. Now we're putting everything neatly into its drawers. We're going to look across. So Chesed, we know, is loving kindness. The inner light is love. It's Yom Rishon, and it's on the right, the south. Gevura, might, inner light is fear. Yom Sheni, it's the left and north. Tiferes is beauty. Rachamim is the inner light. Yom Shlishi, the front, which is east. Then we have Netzach, which is victory. The inner light is B'tachin, trust. Yom Revi'i, above. Hod is thanksgiving. Sincerity, Tamimus. Yom Chamishi, below. And Yesod is foundation. The inner light is truth. Emes, it's Yom Shishi, and it's in the back, the west. Okay, so again, we have 2 more pages here of charts, but it's really going to be exciting when we start the mitzvahs. This is just, again, giving us bearings and references we can come back to if we need to, etc. So now, surprise, surprise, there's 6 other connections with these 6 emotions and days of the week and all. So so top of page 24, the 6 emotions of the heart also correspond to the 6 archetypal souls of the Jewish people: Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, and Yosef. And these are also the Ushpizin in this order that come to us during the nights of Sukkot. These are the order of the 6 Ushpizin. We're also listing them here in that order. And they also, we know that they correspond to the 6 Midos, as we will see in the chart if we forgot. A clear allusion to our present meditation is found in a rabbinic teaching that Adam, the soul root of Yosef, built on the spiritual plane the western wall of the Beis Hamikdash, Avraham the southern wall, Yitzhak the northern wall, Yaakov the eastern wall, Moshe the roof, and Aaron walked barefoot on the floor of the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, that's just interesting. I don't think we need to memorize that, but that's very interesting that also forms a cube with Aaron walking barefoot on the floor. These archetypal souls and directions correspond exactly to the elements of our meditation as we will describe it. Oh, it's just going to get more and more exciting. We will see within the meditative cube our spiritual sanctuary. In other words, we're going to get really good at visualizing this cube, what's on the 6 sides of the cube, and visualizing ourselves in the center of the cube, davening to Hashem. Now, this is exciting. This is something new. This is going to change us. Yes. Okay. So we will see that within the meditative cube, our spiritual sanctuary or temple, we unite, identify ourselves with our prayer. As David HaMelech said in Tehillim, I am prayer, Kapitel 109, line 4. Okay, this word to identify is very funny. It's a funny word nowadays, how the word identify is used. Like I get this, like, I don't know what this is, comes up on my Instagram, a picture of a very cute dog saying, I was born a dog and I identify as a dog, but my mommy says I'm a baby. I don't know why that comes up. Maybe they heard my dog barking and the mayor's dog barking in the background and thought I might like dogs. But identify, okay, so what do we identify with? We can identify with the words of our davening, or we can identify with that annoying voice that's bothering us, right? And we often identify with that annoying voice. Now, we want to learn to, while we're davening, to identify with the voice that's davening. Now, that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, it logically makes sense. And we wonder, why didn't I think of that? But now that we're bringing about it and we're all in it together, I feel like we're going to be more successful in doing it. Okay, so David HaMelech says, I am prayer. The mitzvah of prayer corresponds to the sphere of Malchus, kingdom, whose inner light or soul experience is shiftless, lowliness. We spoke about this many times, that the inner part of Malchus is shiftless, because shiftless is like really one of the big subjects in Torah's HaNefesh, because it's like the well springs of sanity, to not feel better than other people, just to not feel better than other people. Isn't that amazing that that's like a real, because then there's no, we don't feel like I'm the worst person in the world. No, I just don't feel better than other people. That's all. Simple. That's shiftless. And that corresponds to the archetypal soul of David HaMelech and to the seventh day of creation, Shabbos. Okay, so now we have another exciting chart. We're going to just look at it going across. So Chesed is the right, and it's Avraham. Gvora is the left, Yitzhak. Tiferes is the front, Yaakov. Netzach, victory, is above, Moshe. Hod, thanksgiving, is below, Aaron. Yesod, foundation, is behind us. That's Yosef. Adam reincarnating as Yosef. And Malchus, which is the middle of where we are. Remember, since us davening, that's the inside of the cube, the center of the cube, where we're going to learn to daven, which is David HaMelech. Okay, one last chart before we get to the thunder and lightning, opening up. The parts of the body, would you believe? These things, all these 7 things, all relate to 7 different parts of the body, because now we're including Malchus. Okay, yes, we're going to do it, because we don't want to leave anything out. In the course of our meditation, we must also be aware how the spatial parameters of the meditation cube correspond in Kabbalah to parts of the body. Chesed and Gevura, right and left, correspond to the right arm and the left arm. Well, that's really easy. Netzach, Hod, above and below, correspond to the right leg and the left leg. Tiferes and Yesod, front and back. So Tiferes is the torso, and Yesod is its extension, the procreative organ. Malchus, the midpoint of space, the inner sanctum from which we engage in prayer, corresponds to the mouth. Now, I have some footnotes circled here. I'm just going to take a quick look. Okay. Okay, so yes, I think we'll do footnote 15. The footnotes, by the way, are on page 232, but it's up to you. As though, so footnote 15, the torso, the chest, represents the drive to move forward. The procreative organ represents the drive to find and unite with one's soulmate. I thought that was a beautiful thing to say, who, according to Kabbalah, is initially connected to one's backside, as Chava was to Adam upon their creation. Adam and Chava were created back to back, a symbol for one's unconscious. I think people have heard this idea before, And I've heard this idea taught very amusingly by Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson, that they're created back to back, which has the advantage of she can wash the milchik dishes and he could wash the fleishik dishes. They always know where the other one is at, but the big flaw there is they can't turn around and look at each other. So it's risky behavior, this Nasira that takes place before Rosh Hashanah, and then they can turn around and see each other because they could run away. It's taking a risk, but it means they're no longer held together by narcissistic needs, and they can choose to have a relationship. Okay. And then footnote 16, the mouth's service of prayer corresponds to the relative back of the mouth, whereas the mouth's service of studying the oral Torah, this is talks about in Patach Eliyahu, Malchus is the mouth, it's called the oral Torah, corresponds to the relative front of the mouth. So that's quite mysterious. The back, we daven from the back of the mouth and we learn from the front of the mouth, but that's, I think, beyond my pay grade. We'll have to ask a local Kabbalist. Okay, back to, okay. So we have the chart with the parts of the body. So, and then we will now explain in detail each of the 6 constant mitzvahs in relation to our meditation cube. In doing so, we will quote the text of each mitzvah as it is stated in the Torah. The words of the Torah will serve as the anchor of our consciousness, the focal point of our comprehension. Okay, so this was all an introduction. If you have the book, turn 1 page. It says chapter 3, belief, emunah. And then it says, it's actually lined up very nicely. I'll just put it right over there. It says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher hotzicha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibeis avodim. I am God, your God, who has taken you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, from Shemos. And I'm telling you the truth, when I turned this page for the first time, I saw thunder and lightning. It was happening. That's one of the rewards, they said, they send that to the person preparing the lesson, so they shouldn't be despondent, thunder and lightning. Okay, I'll do a little more. Okay, turn the page. So now I'm getting very excited. Now we are starting our study of the 6 constant mitzvahs. Chapter 3, emunah. Above is the mitzvah, I'll repeat it because it's fun to say, Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher hotzicha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibeis avodim. I am God, your God, who has taken you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. This mitzvah, the first of the 10 commandments, and also the first of the 6 constant mitzvahs of the Torah, is the mandate to believe in Hashem. So to believe in Hashem is a mitzvah, and we visualize it as above us in the cube. Now that sounds easy enough, doesn't it? We can all do that. Believing in Hashem. Now we're going to learn about it, the elements of belief. Belief in God entails, like, I'm so glad we're now going to learn what belief in God entails, because how can we do it if we don't know what it entails? L'chaim, l'chaim. Okay. Belief in God entails 1, belief in Hashem's existence, that there is a God. Okay. So we can have check our meter. How do we line up with that one? 2nd, belief that Hashem is all-powerful, and belief that Hashem, in his providence over all, that's hashgacha pratis, over all, redeems the soul, each and every soul, from spiritual bondage. Now, that's a new one. That's a beautiful one. To believe that Hashem and his hashgacha pratis over all of us will redeem our soul, everyone's soul, from spiritual bondage. I feel so much better. I want to believe that, yes, that every soul is going to be redeemed. We can't give up on anybody. We really can't give up on anybody. That's part of our emunah. Okay, we're turning the page. The first 3 words of the first of the 10 commandments are Anochi Hashem Elokecha, which means I am God, your God. In Kabbalah, they signify 3 aspects of divinity. Okay, this is so exciting. God's essence, I am. Wow, God's essence is talking to us. God's transcendent light, the light beyond our world, and God's immanent light, the light within our world. That's when we say your God. When Hashem says, I am God, your God. Your God is talking about the light within our world. There's also the light that transcends the world, and there's also God's essence. So this is Anochi. This is all in the word Anochi. Clearly, these 3 aspects of divinity correspond to the 3 elements of belief stated above. We are learning what is emunah. Oh, I'm quite excited, you can see. A Jew believes in Hashem's very essence, of which Hashem said, I am whom I am. So a Jew believes in Hashem's very essence. Okay, let's believe in Hashem's very essence. Why settle for anything superficial, right? I mean, life is hard. Let's believe in Hashem's very essence. Yes, go to the essence. So again, a Jew believes in Hashem's very essence, of which Hashem said, I am whom I am. Hashem's transcendent light is referred to as the light that surrounds all worlds, Sovev Kol Almim. Surrounding reality implies the power to control it. So the Sovev light that transcends it also has the power over reality. And the belief that Hashem in his providence over all redeems the soul from bondage corresponds to his immanent light, Mamale, the light that fills all worlds. So we have to really, I need to go over this a few times, the belief that Hashem redeems the soul from bondage. It's such a relief. That is such a and we have to help him along by helping redeem our soul from bondage. Okay, I love this. Hashem's immanent light is his divine providence over all. His immanent light. So his immanent light is the facade. And we see so much hashgacha pratis. In order for Hashem to take us out of Mitzrayim, a place deemed to be inescapable by natural means, his immanent light, his hashgacha pratis over us, must unite with his transcendent light, which, being beyond this world, can overturn nature. Let's go over that again. I feel like this is something I want to understand. Okay, so do it slowly in little bits. Hashem's immanent light. So the light of Mamale is hashgacha pratis. The light of Mamale is here with us in this moment of hashgacha pratis over everything. In order for Hashem to take us out of Mitzrayim, so there was no way to escape Mitzrayim by natural means. So if we're in a situation that, God forbid, where we feel there's no way to escape it by natural means, just remember Hashem already helped us. We already did that. We've already escaped the situation. It's deep in our spiritual DNA, escaping an impossible situation. With Hashem's help, with Hashem taking us out of the situation. So he's saying his immanent light, his providence over us must unite with his transcendent light. So Mamali is uniting with Sovev, which being beyond this world can overturn nature. So in order to overturn nature, we have to sprinkle in a little Sovev in the Mamale. This union is ultimately affected by the power of Hashem's very essence. In other words, how do you unite Mamali and Sovev, the inner light and the transcendent light? You need Hashem's very essence. So the Hashem's essence is involved. I like learning about Hashem's essence, talking about Hashem, but we could even talk about Hashem's essence together. All 3 levels of divinity thus bind together to make redemption possible. I am God, your God, who has taken you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. We will see presently how this relates to us today. Okay, we want to see that. Okay, this is so, Yes, but what we needed to know, what is belief in Hashem? I mean, it really helps me to know that it all includes believing that Hashem will redeem every soul. I think that's really an important part that to add to our belief. Often in Kabbalah and Hasidic teaching, Hashem's two manifestations, his transcendent light and his immanent light, are symbolized as the sun and the moon. So I guess that must mean the sun is the transcendent light and the moon is the immanent light. These were created on the fourth day, the day that corresponds to the sphere of Netzach, and the direction of above, the direction of the first of the 6 constant mitzvahs. Obviously, and as noted earlier, the creation of the heavenly bodies on the fourth day relates to the direction of above. So the heavenly bodies are above, and this emunah in Hashem is above. Wow, this emunah is above. So, and it's one of the 6 constant mitzvahs. That means we can always, well, waiting for the light to change, waiting for my number to be called, we can meditate on our emunah. We can meditate on strengthening our emunah in Hashem. It's one of the 6 constant mitzvahs above. Together with the moon were created the stars, which symbolize the souls of Israel. Hashem's immanence, the moon, relates to each and every individual soul, each and every star. So this is saying that Hashem's immanence, Hashem's hashgacha pratis, is to all of us. And I think, I know it is basic Baal Shem Tov. And it's interesting, this yesterday was Gimel Tammuz, as we know. And Baruch Hashem, we had a lovely table of guests. I thought for Gimel Tammuz, I should say yes to everyone who asked if they could come. And because it's a lot of people didn't know each other, we wanted to have we often have like people say their name and something. So a girl, one of the guests who came early Thursday night to really be able to help a lot, make Shabbos, said somebody asked her, what's your favorite concept in Chassidus? So that became, say your name and what's your favorite concept in Chassidus, but not to be too pushy. We also let people say what 3 foods they would bring to a desert island, because my husband likes that one, and give people a choice. But a lot of people, like hashgacha pratis is such an appealing idea. What's your favorite concept in Chassidus? I think it's a really interesting question. I actually chose that a chassid makes a saviva. A chassid creates an environment. Somehow that really appealed to me at that moment, that we have to create an environment, Yes. Okay, so back to, so how did all this come up? Because we were saying about immanent light, divine providence. That's what reminded me of it. A favorite concept, a favorite concept in Chassidus, hashgacha pratis. Okay, so overpowering, immanent light, or sun and the moon, the fourth day, in the direction of above, the first of the 6 constant commandments, each of the souls, so hashgacha pratis comes to each of the souls of Israel, which were represented by the stars, which have no number. So we each have a star, we each are a star, and we each have hashgacha pratis. Hashem is talking to us in all the circumstances of our life. I really, learning transforming darkness into light together really gave me a feeling for that. So I wonder if this might be a good place to stop and take a picture and wish each other a good week. So yes, we'll stop here. This week, let's see, this week has the 5th of Tammuz in it, which is in the day that Yeheskel saw his vision of the Merkava, the heavenly vision, the first vision that happened outside really the land of Israel, when we were in exile in Bavel. Saw the Merkava on the 5th of Tammuz. Sometimes the Rebbe would give a sicha on that day. So expect heavenly visions. Don't miss out. Okay, let's take a picture. get well, because we went Rav Yitzhak for Brang Thursday night. It was wonderful, wonderful to see him, but we want him to have a refuah shalema. So this picture will be the refuah shalema picture for this week. A few more people, put on your cameras. Come on, it adds a lot to the beauty, the humanity. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yes, we did it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So thank you for all for joining us. It's wonderful to see everybody. It's wonderful to learn this together. In a couple of minutes, Rav Eli will start his shir. So for everyone who can hang in there, please do. And mwah, love you all. See you next week. Thank you so much. A good week to one and all.